The North Carolina Real Estate Commission is now requiring sellers to be more upfront with their property's history, particularly in wetter parts of its history.
WAY's Celeste Smith joins us in the studio with more. Hi Celeste, how will the new rule impact property sellers and buyers?
Hi Jeff and Hannah. The North Carolina Real Estate Commission recently voted to require flooding history to be included in a property's disclosure requirements. Currently, property sellers only have to disclose whether they're in a floodplain or flood zone, and if they have flood insurance. Cape-fear-realtors President-elect Amanda-Parmer says the new rule will require sellers to disclose if the property has ever had any flood damage, if there's ever been a flood claim, what their elevation is, and what their annual flood insurance premium is.
I think it's incredibly helpful. People don't know what they don't know when they're moving to the area, and the FEMA maps aren't always up to date. So even if you're looking at a FEMA map, you still might be in a flood zone and the map's not reflective of it. So I think having these disclosures up front for any buyers moving into the area is only going to help the industry as a whole.
Parmer shared what drove the change.
For a while now, environmental groups and a few other advocacy groups has been pushing for the legislation to change to make this disclosure more readily available. And finally, the Real Estate Commission voted unanimously about it.
Lynn-Stewart says her home in Brigade flooded when Hurricane Florence hit the Cape Fear in 2018. The storm was classified as a 1,000-year flood event, given its 0.1% probability in any given year.
Never in a million years we would have thought that our house was flooded.
Stewart says her home was 3 feet off the ground and had 3 feet of water inside after the storm. She supports notifying potential buyers of a home's flood history.
Well, I mean, for example, my house wasn't in a flood zone and we didn't have insurance, so we weren't prepared for it to flood. And I would hate to know someone who's not, doesn't have knowledge of the area would come in and buy a house without having that knowledge. I think I would never want that to happen with our house or anybody's house.
The change in requirements will show on the property disclosure forms in July.